It's 3 a.m. and pager duty is screaming. The deploy that sailed through staging just brought production to its knees because staging was using a fake database URL while production pointed at the real one. No one separated those secrets. No one stood between staging past and send it to prod. GitHub environments exist precisely to prevent this story. They are the gatekeeper that staging and production have always needed. A GitHub environment is a named deployment target, development, staging, production that carries its own isolated secrets, its own variables, and its own set of protection rules. Workflows reference these environments by name in the job definition. The moment a job is tied to an environment, GitHub enforces whatever rules that environment declares, who must approve, how long to wait, and which branches are even allowed to deploy. Environments are configured in the repository settings tab, not in any YAML file. Navigate to Settings, then Environments, and click New Environment, give it a name like Production and hit Save. The YAML side is just a reference, one field that says this job belongs to this environment. All the power, the reviewers, the timers, the branch restrictions lives in the settings UI, far from the code that can be sneaked past in a pull request. Adding environment, production under a job definition is a single line that does two significant things. First, it injects that environment scope secrets into the job, the real production credentials that no other job can touch. Second, it activates every protection rule configured for that environment, pausing execution until all conditions are met. Think of it as a key that unlocks a vault and simultaneously triggers the security system. Required reviewers pause the entire workflow at that job and send approval notifications to up to 6 GitHub users or teams. The job does not start, not even a single step, until one of those reviewers clicks approve in the GitHub UI. They can also reject, which fails the workflow immediately. This creates an explicit human checkpoint between your automated pipeline and a live production system, making every production change a deliberate, reviewed decision. The wait timer adds a deliberate cooling-off period between the moment reviewers approve and the moment the deployment job actually starts. You can configure anywhere from 0 to 43,200 minutes, that is up to 30 full days. In practice, teams use it for soak windows after approvals, giving monitoring systems time to catch regressions before the next environment is touched. The deployment can still be cancelled during this window if something looks wrong. Deployment branch restrictions answer a question that required reviewers alone cannot: should a feature branch even be allowed to attempt a production deploy? With selected branches configured to allow only main, any workflow triggered from a feature branch hits a hard block before reviewers are ever notified. The error is immediate and clear: branch not allowed. This prevents the entire class of accidental "oops, I deployed my experiment" incidents. Walk through the full sequence. A push to main triggers the workflow. CI jobs run normally. When execution reaches the production job, GitHub intercepts it and sets the status to waiting for review. Reviewers receive an email and an in-app notification with a direct link to the approval UI. They can add a comment, approve, or reject. If approved, the job resumes, possibly after a wait timer. If rejected, the workflow fails and the team knows exactly who said no and why. Repository secrets are available to every job and every workflow, great for shared tokens like a Docker Hub password. Environment secrets are fundamentally different. GitHub only injects them when the job's environment field matches exactly. A staging job cannot read the production database URL, full stop. You can even use the same secret name across environments, database_URL and staging points at the test database, while database_URL and production points at the real one. Same name, completely isolated values, enforced by the platform. A production-grade pipeline chains 3 jobs using the needs field to enforce order. The development job deploys freely on every push. The staging job waits for development to succeed. The production job waits for staging, and because it references the production environment, it also waits for a required reviewer to approve. Each job gets only its own environment secrets. The production deploy step has no visibility into staging credentials whatsoever, giving you true isolation across the entire chain. Every time a workflow deploys to an environment, GitHub records it automatically. The repository's homepage surfaces the current active deployment for each environment, and clicking through reveals the full history, timestamps, who triggered the workflow, who approved it, the exact Git SHA that was deployed, and a direct link to the workflow run. For regulated industries or post-incident reviews, this audit trail is invaluable. You can answer what was running in production at 3 a.m. on Tuesday, in seconds. Set a URL on an environment and GitHub surfaces a View Deployment button everywhere that deployment appears, in the workflow run log, on the pull request checks panel, and in the environments section on the repo homepage. The URL can be static, configured once in settings. For dynamic environments like preview deploys, a step can output the URL at runtime and the environment picks it up via job outputs. Reviewers can click straight through to the running app before they decide to approve. Production deploys must never overlap. The concurrency key with a named group ensures only one run of that job executes at a time. Setting cancel in progress to false means a second deploy that arrives while the first is running will queue and wait rather than being discarded, critical for deployments where losing a run could skip a critical release. For pull request previews where staleness does not matter, flip it to true so the latest commit always wins and old previews are cleaned up automatically. Final knowledge check. You want only engineers on the platform team GitHub team to approve production deployments. The needs field controls job ordering, not access. Branch protection rules govern who can merge code, not who can approve deploys. Code owners files gate pull request reviews, not deployments. The only place deployment approvals live is inside the environment's protection rules, settings, environments, production, required reviewers, add platform team. That is the answer, and that is the pattern you will use every time.